During a recent spirit circle, my team relayed the message, listen, no one is coming to save you. Now, when you hear that statement, notice how you feel. Do you feel triggered, let down, afraid? The intent of this statement, they said, was not to create those feelings, but rather a deep understanding that you do not need saving by some external force. In fact, the hero that you have been waiting for this whole time has been you. Hi everyone, Therese here. Welcome to this week's Karma Cards. Well, that might have been a heavy message for some people at the front of this video. And of course, my intention is never to bombard you. No, I don't want to bring your energy down. I don't want you to give up hope. In fact, I want you to redirect your energy. And that's why I'm sharing this message from the Spirit Circle and my team. Because a lot of people who attended that Spirit Circle felt that that message was deeply resonant. It started to awaken something deep within them and get them to think. So again, sharing it with you, they're saying, no one is coming to save you. But the reason we tell you this is because you don't need saving. You have always been the hero of your own journey. And the universe has tried to sprinkle this in to your consciousness the entire time. That's why one of the strongest archetypes that are out there is indeed the hero. And the hero's journey is something that that's constantly reinforced for us. It's in our stories, it's in our movies, it's in our television shows. Like all of our entertainment is based around the hero's journey. And this is to kind of like spark a fire for you. Yes, sometimes with television programs, movies, yes, there is also programming in there to also give you other cues, more negative cues. But believe it or not, in this 3D experience we're having, both negative and positive catalysts have to be presented equally. So you're never given something, this is a big one, we're never given anything that doesn't have both in equal proportion. That's why you can look at, in fact, think about this. Take a negative experience from your past while you were going through it. Pretty negative, right? But as you're looking back, do you see the positive? Do you see the gold? Do you see what you gained? Yes. In third density, polarity is extremely high, and it's designed that way. It's designed to present both positive and negative catalysts in a completely balanced way. And the reason why is, again, because of the great choice we are making. If you want to hear more about the choice and what that means, check out my podcast, Modern Mystic Soul. It is free. It's on pretty much every streaming podcast platform. I'll put a link right here, and you can also find it down below. But I'm talking to you more in depth about the choice and what we're being presented with right now. So let's get back to the topic at hand, which is about waiting for something to come save you. Now, again, the hero's journey is presented as a positive catalyst for you to understand what you're doing here and why you're here and why you're having this experience. However, the negative polarity also has to offer an equal amount of catalyst for you. And what that ends up looking like is externalizing a savior. So-and-so is going to save me. I'm just waiting for the ships to pick me up and take me away. Like, Calgon, take me away. Right? We all do this. I think that it's normal when we're, thinking about how incredible the obstacles feel in our life. Or perhaps this time period that we're in might feel incredibly overwhelming. I know for me at times it sure does. It's natural to sort of seek the answer outside of yourself, but it was always designed to come through you, not to you. It's coming through you. So your higher self, team and spirit, wants you to run that message by you. You are the hero of your story. Does that feel in alignment with you? Does it resonate for you? Feel that in. Let yourself feel that. Now understand that if that were the case, then who could save you? You are the hero. You're the one that saves you, right? And we're collectively doing this at the same time. So it can be very confusing while going through third density. And by the way, out of all the densities of experience we are provided with, third is the most difficult. Why? Because it's the only density that has the veil of forgetting cast over us. You are mind wiped before you wake up to third density. You don't know who you were, where you came from, what you learned before, the knowledge you carry with you. You may have been an incredibly powerful shaman or healer in your very last life and wake up to have no memory of that, right? So that makes it very difficult. Why is it introduced then? Why are we memory wiped? Why are we presented with equal amounts of negative to positive catalyst? Why do we have a veil of forgetting? That's the other thing that comes with third density. I mean, the veil of confusion. There it is. Right there. I just enacted it for you. Thank you. I'm done. The veil of confusion is another tool that is used in third density. And this is meant to keep you from receiving the truth out of any other source but yourself. Meaning, I can be speaking to you the exact truth, but you will only pick up certain parts of it. Why is that? Why is that? Why can't we take each other's test, right? Why can't I just sneak you the answers and be like, psst, I got this. It's A, B, and C. Click, We can't do that because of the veil of confusion, which is designed to keep you turning inward. There's the secret. Inside. Everything you need is inside. Now, notice in your life who and what you're waiting for, or what you're waiting for from another person. For example, if you're waiting for someone to support you, to feel supported, ask yourself this question and answer yourself honestly. Are you supportive of yourself? Do you support yourself? And I mean that it could be physically support yourself, emotionally support yourself, spiritually. Are you supporting yourself? Are you supportive of yourself? Or are you, do you have a tendency towards negative self-talk, putting yourself down, telling yourself you're not enough, right? I think we are all familiar with this one. So notice how you're constantly looking for external support, but it never really feeds you. And that's the other thing. Whatever it is you're seeking for outside of yourself, you may find it and it just doesn't satiate you. For example, if you seek validation, like tell me I'm good at this, validate what I've done or who I am, and people will be like, you're amazing. And you're so talented. They'll say these things to you and you'll be like, no, you have to say that. You have to say that because you're my friend. You're saying that because you love me. You are. Notice how it's not enough. You know why? Because you're the one you're waiting for. You're waiting for self-validation in that case. So I want you to think about something that you're waiting for the outside world to give you. And then I want you to get honest with yourself and find out, are you actually giving it to yourself? Right? Maybe you've tried. Maybe you have tried. And you're like, still didn't feel like enough. Still didn't feel like it was filling the hole. That's because it's going to take a while. It's kind of that situation where we're not used to this. We're not used to this feeling. We're not used to, it still doesn't feel like enough. Right? But with enough effort, with enough showing up, showing up for ourselves is something we have to learn to do. And it is a tricky thing because we're so used to this instant gratification. But that kind of healing, who it is who's been waiting for you is you, little you inside, the little child inside of you who, wherever we got stuck in life, whatever subject it was on or at whatever age, there is a inner child in you who's been waiting for adult you to show up and take care of you. And that's the part of you that doesn't trust you if you haven't been showing up in that way. So if you haven't been supporting yourself, or you haven't been validating yourself, even when you try, it's like suspicious, like, I don't know. I mean, it's nice, but I don't know if I can trust you, right? So there's this sort of holding back from yourself. And this has to do with our word and our deed not matching. That's what creates mistrust. So if we say we're going to do something and then we flake on ourselves, there's the mistrust right there. And that causes that feeling of like, you didn't show up for me. So now I don't trust you. And now when you try to validate me, I'm like, okay. You know what I mean? It's difficult. It is difficult, but that is the goal. And here's the thing. From a higher self perspective, every density of experience is just another level of the game. Because the truth is oneness. You are already complete or whole. You are everything in this world you could experience and more. You are more than everything you could experience right here. So if you've got everything and are everything and have been everything and have done everything, this is just a game. So every level of the game is going to offer you different challenges. And the challenge at this time is to what happens when you don't know who you are, and it's really confusing to figure it out from the external world perspective. What will you authentically choose then? Will you choose to be the hero, or will you choose to abandon yourself? And you know what? In the eyes of God and Source, there's no wrong answer. It's all information because it's a game. So we're all playing this game together. It feels very real. It feels intense. It feels painful. It feels overwhelming. And what's really interesting is that the creator of Catalyst in third density is psychological suffering. You know what that means? It also means even though you're your own hero, you're also the one breaking your own heart. Yeah, right? That's intense when we come to this realization. We believe everything is happening to us, but it's happening through us, right? We're the one projecting the story out onto the world. It's sort of a blank canvas that we are assigning characters to. In my play, you are the best friend. You are the frenemy. You could care less about what I think, right? Like that's what we're assigning through our experience. And it's so interesting because here we are in this realm where we're all agreeing to play the game. And we're all trying to get to a similar conclusion, which is that we are the creator being of our life. And either we choose to remember that and experience it, or we choose not to. And sometimes when we pass over, we're like, oh, right, that's what I wanted to experience. And we go back and we try again. But we have to go through the same levels of difficulty with the not remembering. So I bring all of this up because we spend a lot of our time on this planet waiting. And then usually it's towards the end that we realize, shit, I did not have to wait so long. I didn't have to wait to do what I wanted. I didn't have to wait to be happy. I didn't have to wait to go for it. I didn't have to wait to say I love you. I could have just said those things, right? We spend a lot of time on the planet waiting, and that's because I do think that a lot of times we're waiting for some kind of big event to happen. We're waiting for the big thing to crack it all open and reveal the truth. And the reality is you could have that big epiphany moment now. It depends on if you're going to show up for yourself or not. And so this is just one more reminder, in case you need it, one more opportunity to remember that the hero you've been waiting for, the one who can make all the difference in your life, the one who can turn the mundane into magical, is you. Now, if you'd like to join me for the next Spirit Circle, it actually comes up October 6th, which is the next time I release karma cards. So if you would like to join us that day for the new moon in Libra, you can go to this link right here and join us for the next Spirit Circle. Learn about calling in the life you want, get on track with being your own hero, and have psychic Q&A with me at the end. It's all recorded. You get to keep it forever so you can use the tools again and again. And again, if that sounds good to you, join us here. Let's do some karma cards. For those of you who are new to karma cards, let me show you how they work. We've got 3 decks here: planets, signs of the zodiac, and the houses of astrology. And I've already asked my team, what is the message that you have for us this week? And I've got 2 sets of answers. Oops. Let me fix that. 2 sets of answers. One in red, which are action related, and a set in blue, which are outcome related. And all you have to do to play is tune in intuitively and feel, what do you need right now? Do you need action related answers, or do you need outcome related answers? And of course, you can always choose both. So while you're taking a moment to decide, let me tell you the timing for this reading. This reading is for September 29th through October 6th. The flavor of this reading, we've got Mars, so we know we've got an action-related energy in the sign of Aquarius, which keeps popping up. I feel like it pops, some form of Aquarius pops up in almost every karma cards lately, and that has really to do with the time period we're in, this visionary, forward-thinking, new energy. In the 2nd house, which is all about what you value and your idea of worth, and this includes internal and external. For those who are choosing action, your spiritual action is energize your vision patiently. Oh my goodness. 2 opposite things here. And energize, so like, and then patiently hold. Energize your vision patiently. Vision the future, right? That's what we're talking about right here. What do you want to experience? As I say to people I work with all the time, what timeline do you want to be on? I'm calling in the highest timeline. What do you want to be on? Energize it, right? So again, this is like banking power into your vision. The more you spend time with your vision of the future, the more power you're banking into it. Patiently, right? So this is, it's coming. It is coming. Impatience does nothing but create that sensation of longer waiting. Okay, so it's really interesting, but our impatience makes everything take longer. The more patient you are, the faster it happens. It's like watching a pot of water boiling. If you stand there and stare at it, it's going to take a long time. If you give it a minute, if you focus your attention on something else, oh my gosh, it's next thing you know, the water's boiling. Mental action at this time. Confront what's new and different about what you want. This is important. Every time we become aware of some new bit of information, it's going to cause us to recalibrate. It's going to cause us to adapt. If you found out that your favorite restaurant, loved restaurant, they're serving your food with MSG and you don't agree with that, that's not something you want, well, that's going to make you come face to face with the fact that maybe this isn't my favorite restaurant anymore. It's not in alignment with me. I don't want that experience. Therefore, right, I'm going to have to make an adjustment on what I desire. Maybe I make my favorite dish from there at home, and therefore I feel it was really that food that I desire. Or maybe it's the experience of going out and it's not that place in particular. Or maybe I'm attaching feelings to this place because of a memory. And what is it really that I'm attached to here? Is it the good feeling and the beautiful memory that I cherish more than the restaurant? Physical action at this time. Force yourself to use an unconventional way and get what you need. Yeah, I feel like this message works on a couple different levels. We're being challenged at this time in the external world. And everybody's facing a different set of challenges. I mean, it really depends on like kind of where you're leaning in certain areas. And so, and also just things are changing rapidly. They will continue to change. If you think you've seen the end of a breakdown of the old paradigm, I'm sorry to say that we haven't seen that yet. More is coming, but that doesn't mean that we need to attach fear to that or be worried or upset. You shouldn't lose sleep over it. It's falling apart and good riddance, although it's going to make things a little bit difficult. You are, I'm especially coming up, okay, I'm being told to say this, coming up financially, just be prepared that you're going to have to deal with things differently. This might mean if you haven't put cash aside, just as an emergency fund, put cash aside. If you haven't invested in something that is not just your currency, and I don't mean invest as in put your money in the market, more like what alternative currencies can you use? I'm getting that this is a time that you need to really think about that. You got a little bit of a window here to really go, okay, I'm going to get some crypto, or okay, I'm going to get some precious metals or something like that. I do get that that's actually coming up here in the cards. So again, force yourself to use an unconventional way to get what you need, right? And here's the second house with this money bag there. But also this can refer to, on a different level, your internal needs met. An unconventional way is simply the way you haven't been getting it. So if you are looking for things like validation, support, love, understanding from external sources, and that's where you're trying to get it from, then for you an unconventional way would be to receive those resources internally as well. So you might not feel like that's going to be sufficient enough. It's time to understand that yeah, you're going to need self-sufficiency in those areas. It doesn't mean you don't also need other people. It just means you're not dependent on other people to get your own needs met. Okay, so let's look at outcomes for Mars in Aquarius in the second house. Your spiritual outcome is the drive for genius to experiment with your beliefs. The drive with genius to experiment with your beliefs. So regarding this, it's like there's so much plasticity in our creative ability and in our mind that we don't always use, right? So logical or literal thinking tends to be very solidified. Once I think I know something, I'm done. Shut the book, lock it up, it's done. I know what that is. What this is saying is like you should really challenge yourself to open your mind everywhere, even in places where you're like, I know what this is. And it's not so much that it's going to be drastically different than what you think it is. It's purely actually for the ability to create neuroplasticity in the mind. The more questioning and open and curious your mind is in any area of your life, the more access to knowledge you get. Yeah. So we can literally cut off our own psychic supply of knowledge simply by deciding that I know what this is. I know what this is. Okay, well, as soon as I decide that, I have lost the ability to retain new information about it unless I get curious, unless I go, I think I think this is a rainbow moonstone crystal, but it could be more than that. I wonder if there's anything more here. Now notice, I didn't abandon my belief about it. I simply allowed more information to come in by staying curious. I think I know, but I'm willing to find out if there is more. And the more we do that in any area of our life, the more information can come in. That's how we open up and have that neuroplasticity. Outcome at this time, the confronting of the discoveries of what you value. So again, all of this confronting and forcing, that's very Martian talk. It's very aggressive sometimes. This is just that it's going to be in your face, right? The closer that we get to the big switcheroo, or from the old earth to new earth, the closer we get to this point, the more refinement we have to go through. Just like the higher we go in frequency, the more refinement we go through. It's actually a process where you are being asked to reevaluate and reassess and maybe look directly at things that maybe you never thought you had to. It's a natural part of the process. So even though if you're not a naturally contemplative person, this period might irritate you. If you've always been curious and you like to contemplate these things, this is just kind of your zone of genius right now. The confronting of the discoveries of what you value. So what are your values? And I remember years ago when going through therapy and just learning that, like, I didn't know what my values are. From a young age, we're handed values. They're sometimes they're generational, sometimes they're our family, sometimes they're from our social circle. And we just take these on because that's what was handed to us. It isn't until we get more interested in learning about ourselves that we might discover that, this value that was handed to me, I don't actually, like, for example, if you come from a family that really values hard work, like you got to work hard, you got to hustle nonstop till you get it, that might be what you grew up with. But it never really actually worked for you. It never resonated and it didn't feel good. Like you did it because it's what you're supposed to do, but you actually value maybe a work-life balance and find more pleasure and more value in life when you've learned how to step back, take a rest, reapproach the work, and balance between the two. So that's what it's asking of you right now is like, what are your values? What are you doing? Are you doing something on default because you were told that that's how you had to behave? Or are you doing this because you see it as an important structural component of your life? Like this is how you live and it feels good to you. Physical outcome, action resulting from the eccentricity of your resources. So we're going to take action resulting from the eccentricity of your resources. And I do feel like this eccentricity, which is coming from Aquarius, is literally, it's going to feel eccentric if it's coming from a place you haven't tapped into before. So again, going back to if you've depended so much on the external and now you have to tap into the internal and those are the resources you're using, that's going to feel weird. It's going to feel like you're walking in somebody else's shoes for a little bit. Like this just is odd, right? Or if you're a person, for example, who always keeps their emotions kind of locked up inside, sits on them, and then you were to start actually practicing, emotionally expressing your feelings, that would feel eccentric to you, right? So it's not necessarily that the behavior itself is so over the top. It's eccentric because it's outside your comfort zone. And these are the actions that people are going to start feeling a desire to take during this period because all the growth that you need is outside your comfort zone. So you're going to be in these places where you're like, I know what I need is right out here, but I am not comfortable I'm not even sure I'm doing it right. That kind of feeling, that's what's coming up right now. So again, remember that all the resources you need do exist inside of you. And this isn't to say that, again, it's not to say other people aren't of value or won't be around or necessary, but this is the time to tap in and get that this well of untapped power, this is what you came to re-experience about yourself. Just how powerful, just how creative, how beautiful, how loving, how radiant you are. Yeah, my team's like bing on that one. So with that, I'm wishing you a beautiful week. Take care, and I will see you very soon. Thank you for watching. Subscribe now and hit the notification bell so that you know the next time I release a new video. Until then, stay magical.